3rd and 29. Jones steps up, tries to avoid it, buys some time. Jones uncorks, deep ball, touchdown on the ricochet. Purdy back to throw, pressure coming, steps away, looking to run, and he walks it in for the touchdown. Throw on 4th and 18, he's given time, he wants Jefferson, Isaiah, oh my goodness, Justin Jefferson. Jacobs with running room right up the middle, Jacobs is on his way, the Raiders are going to win this game. Intercepted Trayvon Diggs. Guess who? On it to McCaffrey right up the middle. And a stiff arm. McCaffrey for 6. Duval.
Welcome, everybody, to week 1 of the Extra Point here. I'm Lauro Antonio along with Isaiah Leung. We already had our week 0 on this show. That was back in August when we predicted our division winners before we are here today. So anyways, Isaiah, how's it going tonight?
Lauro, I'm doing great, man. Football season is finally here, man. We had a great college football week 1 this past weekend with Deion Sanders in Colorado going into TCU and upsetting the Horned Frogs. And then we had a great game tonight when Duke upsets Dabo Swinney and Clemson, and it just completely turns the college football world upside down, man. And, now we have football. We got the NFL starting this Thursday with Chiefs and Lions. And then we got the regular action week 1 starting on Sunday. I can't wait, man. I've been out for revenge for my Niners for the last 6 months, ever since that NFC Championship game with Brock Purdy hurt his elbow. But Brock Purdy is back. Brock Purdy is the franchise quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. I got my Niners shirt on, and I can't wait to preview the season. I know Ben's going to probably be hopping on sometime soon, but I can't wait, man. We're going to have a fun time previewing the entire NFL season from top to bottom.
Now, folks, we are going to review who we picked for our division winners. So we'll start with the AFC side. So, Isaiah, I have the Buffalo Bills winning the division, and you have the New York Jets winning the division, right?
That's correct. I got the Jets winning the division. Aaron Rodgers is now in New York with gangrene. That defense last year was very good. They had the number 2 defense in the NFL. The Jets won 7 games with very horrible quarterback play, but with a great defense. Now you get Aaron freaking Rodgers on your team, and you have Dalvin Cook. It's a massive upgrade. I expect the Jets to definitely improve their win total by 5 to 6 wins and win that division. It's going to be tough. Their schedule is tough, don't get me wrong, but I think with that division, the Jets, in my opinion, are the top team. I have questions about the Bills and their defense. The Dolphins, I don't know if Tua is going to be healthy, if he can stay healthy throughout the season. And then the Patriots, sadly, Lauro, they just don't have the firepower to keep up with all these top teams like the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins. So, I don't know if we'll do our team previews later on, but you could talk more about the Patriots later on. But I just think right now, if you look at that division, it's going to be Jets, Bills, and the Dolphins that are going to be in the race. And I just think when you look at the quarterbacks, I trust Aaron Rodgers over Josh Allen and Tua all day, every day. So give me New York to win that division.
For the AFC North, I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning it. And Isaiah, you picked the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
That's right. I think Kenny Pickett is about to take a major step up. George Pickens looked very great in preseason. Najee's there. Their defense is going to be even stronger this season. And then for the other teams in the division, the Ravens, Lamar, I have questions about his health. Their defense, I think, will take a step back. The Bengals, I don't know about Joe Burrow's health. I mean, he's been so injury prone ever since he's gotten into the league. He hasn't been protected well. And then the Cleveland Browns are just a weird team, Loro. They just, they have Deshaun Watson, but a lot of their players are very old or out of their prime. So I got Pittsburgh winning that division and shocking the world this season.
And then next up in the AFC South, Isaiah, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division. I mean, year 2 with Doug Peterson in Duval County. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is going to have a historic year 3 after having a really, really poor rookie season with Urban Meyer. But I really think Trevor Lawrence is now coached by a real NFL offensive guru.
Yeah, this is, you're right, Loro. This is our pick to win the division. Duval indeed. The Jags, I think, are going to win that division. I think they're the best team in that division. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's going to take a major step up, another major step up, and this time be in the conversation for MVP. You look at their team, top to bottom, running back with Etienne, the wide receivers with Christian Kirk, and then you have Calvin Ridley opposite him. The tight end does leave a lot to be desired. The offensive line is better. The defense, I think, will be a lot better this season. Trayvon Walker's entering year 2 in the NFL, and I think he's about to take another major step up. So I think the Jags have this division. I think the Titans, this is going to be Ryan Tannehill's last season in Tennessee. This is, I think, going to be Derrick Henry's last season in Tennessee as well. And the Titans just seem like that old team that's on the downturn. And then when you look at the other teams, you look at, Houston, C.J. Stroud is so young. Will Anderson is so young. They have a lot of promise, but they're just so young right now. And then in Indy, I expect Anthony Richardson to have a good year, but that team is just, they need more pieces around Anthony Richardson. So give me the Jags. I think the Jags are the best team.
Well, Isaiah, I got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs winning the AFC West, and you're going with the Denver Broncos because of Sean Payton.
Yes, sir, Loro. This year, we will be saying this one statement every single week, and that is Sean Payton is the truth. Sean Payton will show the world why he is one of the best coaches in the entire NFL, and he is going to fix Russell Wilson and make the Denver Broncos offense look like a complete different offense than they were last season under that terrible head coach Nathaniel Hackett. The defense was already very good. They just need the offense to help out the defense. And I think that with Sean Payton, I think that the offense will indeed help out the defense, and Russell Wilson will be back to MVP form this season.
And then for our wild card picks here in the AFC, I have the Denver Broncos as the first wild card, the New York Jets, the second wild card, and then the third wild card to the Miami Dolphins.
Good picks, good picks. For me, I got the Kansas City Chiefs as my number 1 wild card. There's no way I have Patrick Mahomes missing the playoffs entirely. I have him not winning the AFC West for the first time in a long time, but missing the playoffs is just really, really crazy. It's not going to happen. He's going to make the playoffs. Kansas City is too talented to not make the postseason. I'm worried about their defense, though. Chris Jones might be out for a good portion of the season, so that's why I could see Kansas City just dropping, because their defense without Chris Jones with Chris Jones is already not really that good. Without Chris Jones, it's going to be awful without Chris Jones. Their secondary is not good. Their linebackers aren't that good. They can't get after the quarterback without Chris Jones. They need Chris Jones to win football games with their defense. And then So I got KC at the first wild card. I got the second wild card. Oh man, the second wild card. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Bills and Josh Allen. I think that they have so much firepower in offense. Defense does have a little bit of question marks, but I think they'll be the second wild card. And the third one, it's going to be between the Bengals and the Chargers. Give me the Chargers. I think that I don't trust Joe Burrow to be able to stay healthy and the Bengals to protect him. And with Justin Herbert, he got that big contract. Brandon Staley's got something to prove after last season's debacle in the AFC. The first wild card game, and then Austin Eckler's got something to prove. He's trying to get a big contract. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they've all got stuff to prove. The defense, I think, will be a lot better. So give me the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Chargers as my 3 wild card teams to round out the AFC playoff teams.
Ben, welcome. Since you're just joining us here, Ben, who do you have as your AFC wildcard teams? And have you already predicted your divisions in the AFC?
Yeah, well, first of all, guys, glad to be on here doing our show. Like I said, it's just another year of football season. Glad to be back. Hopefully you guys had a good Labor Day weekend. Summer, of course, is coming to an end, but we obviously have fall on our horizon, which is obviously great. In terms of the AFC, yeah, I obviously got my picks during my shows that I had. So my AFC, do you want just all division winners and the AFC wildcard too? So the AFC East, I had the Bills. I think specifically it's going to be really tight division race specifically, but I think that the Bills are going to come on top. The AFC North, I have the Bengals. And then the South, I have the Jags. And then did I get all of them? Oh.
Missing the AFC West.
AFC West, thank you. The Chiefs. So I have the Bills representing the East. I have the Bengals representing the North. I have the South. I have representing the Jags. And then in the West, I have the Chiefs. So for my 3 AFC wildcard teams, I have the Jets, I have the Ravens, and I have the Dolphins.
Not bad at all. But anyways, Ben, we will be talking about the New England Patriots in just a little bit here because the New England Patriots will be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 1. We'll be ready. We'll be talking about that when we get to our picks here. We'll go to the NFC side. So in the NFC East, for me, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. My guy Jalen Hurts almost won MVP. But you know what? I think Jalen Hurts is in store for another MVP type season. I'll start with you, Ben, since you just came on. You got the Philadelphia Eagles winning the division, right?
Yeah, I do. I don't think that the Eagles are going to have a Super Bowl hangover as some people had them to. I just think specifically that they're really good on both sides of the football. Nick Sirianni is a really good coach. So yeah, I have them representing the East.
And what about you, Isaiah? You got the Washington Commanders winning the division, which I think is pretty much the most delusional pick of the show.
Hey, I love the boldness.
Yeah, I do have the Commanders winning the division because, here's the thing, guys. Every year in the NFL, we always have like 3 teams that just surprise the heck out of everybody. And we're just like, where on earth did they come from? And I think it's bound to happen again this season. And I think the Commanders are going to be one of those teams because I think when you look at it, for me, and I've told Ben this, I don't know, Laurel, if you heard this when Ben, James, and I did our show yesterday. I think for Philadelphia, I think they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover, and they lost a lot of pieces on defense. And you can't replace, a lot of those pieces that you lost with rookies. It takes a lot of time for these rookies to adjust to the NFL. So I think for me, the Commanders are my number one team. Eric Bieniemy is going to fix their offense. Their defense is already great with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and those big boys up front. And then you have the linebackers are great. The corners, they got better with Emmanuel Forbes, who I think will have a great year, the rookie out of Mississippi State. And then, you look at for the Eagles, for the Commanders, you look at on offense, their offense was so stale last season that it forced the defense to play a lot of snaps, which got the defense tired. I think the defense will be more creative and more innovative, and I think the defense with Bieniemy leading it now, I think you're going to see a great season out of Sam Howell. This guy was supposed to be a first-round pick the year before he came out, and he dropped because he had he had a really terrible senior year in college, and that's why he dropped so low. But he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of talent. And with that running game of Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, and then you have the receivers and Terry McLaurin, you have Logan Thomas as well, the tight end. I just think the Commanders in that division with that defense, creating turnovers, sacking the heck out of the quarterbacks, I think they can be like what Philly was last season. So give me Washington.
Next up, we're going to move on to the NFC North. I picked the Green Bay Packers to win the division just because, I really think Jordan Love is going to have a really good year. This is his first year as a starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers have surrounded him with a lot of talent around him on offense, but the defense still remains a concern. So, Isaiah, I'll go with you on this one. We both have the Green Bay Packers winning the division.
Yeah, I have the Packers winning the division because I believe in Jordan Love. I know it was a small sample size, but against the Philadelphia Eagles in that mop-up duty, he really impressed me, moving in and out of the pocket, throwing on the run, throwing strikes on the run, and being very poised. And I think we're going to see Jordan Love be fully unleashed this season. And I think we're going to see Jordan Love have a great season for the Green Bay Packers and shock a lot of people. And Aaron Jones, I think, will rebound and have a phenomenal season as well. The defense is a little bit of a concern for me, but I think that Jordan Love's going to show the world why, the Packers waited so long for him to start and that he's finally ready to be the star that, the Packers expect him to be. And then you look at the other teams in that division, the Bears. I don't believe in Justin Fields, sadly. I think that, Fields hasn't shown me that he can be an NFL caliber quarterback. He's really good at running, but as a passer, not really that great. I know he has DJ Moore now, but that defense is not that good anyway. So I expect, with the Bears, and I know we're going to get to the hot seat rankings later on in the show, but if Matt Eberflus and the Bears has another year like they did last year where they only win like 3 games and then get the number 1 pick, I could see Matt Eberflus be gone in Chicago. I think that the Bears fan base is just not that patient. And, I think they should have hired an offensive coach to begin with just to groom Justin Fields. So I didn't really like that fit to begin with. So I'm not really a big believer on the Bears. The Vikings, you guys know my take on the Vikings. I think the Vikings are the biggest frauds in the NFL. I'll drop a hot take right now since this is our NFL preview show. I think the Minnesota Vikings will finish last place in the division. I think they only win 5 games because if you look at that schedule, it is tough for the Vikings. And I think they'll win week 1. But I think, honestly, they get off to a 2-6 start, and they just can't bounce back from that bad start that they had. And this is going to be Kirk Cousins last year. The offense, I think, will be good. The defense is going to be the one that pulls the Vikings down because they lost a lot of pieces, and that defense was already awful last season. And then the Lions, I think the Lions will be second place in that division. I think Detroit, I like Jared Goff. I like Dan Campbell, like Loro calls them, the fighting Dan Campbells. I think that the Lions have a good season. They're going to be running the ball really well. I think Goff has a efficient season, and then the defense for me is the only concern. So give me Green Bay. I think Jordan Love shows the world why he's an up-and-coming star.
Ben, I'll go to you. Who do you like in the NFC North? Are you going with the new look Green Bay Packers, or are you going to go with the Detroit Lions?
I'm going the Lions. I think personally that they have been they're really increasing year by year as an overall organization. And I think specifically that it might take a little bit to kind of get Jordan Love and company going, I guess you can say, in a way where I think their defense is going to be good. I think specifically their offense is going to be good as well too. But I just think that the Lions right now have a lot of energy. They have a lot of confidence. I think you could say coming into this season, and I think that the Packers. They're going to be right there when it's all said and done. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions to win the division.
All right, next up, we're going to the NFC South. So I picked the Carolina Panthers to win the division. I mean, first year of Frank Reich, and then you got the number 1 pick in Bryce Young, surrounding himself with pretty good weapons like Raheem Blackshear, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark. But I really think what's going to play a big factor in the Carolina Panthers, I really think it's going to be the pound attack. I think their defense is solid. I mean, Ejiro Evero, I think, is going to do a great job as their defensive coordinator. And I also think the Saints are going to be a decent team with Derek Carr. Their defense is still a good, but I think that last place is between the Falcons and the Tampa Bay Bucks. But the Falcons, I think, have a slightly better team over Tampa Bay just because the Falcons have a youthful offense. I mean, ground and pound with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I think Desmond Ridder is going to take a huge leap this year. So, and then the Bucks, they made a stupid decision and a foolish decision to go with Baker Mayfield over Kyle Trask. Ben, who do you like in this NFC South? This is wide open now since the Tampa Bay Bucks are in the post-Brady era.
Yeah, and obviously, they're going through the situation with Mike Evans. They're obviously going to, and I had said yesterday in my show that the Buccaneers right now specifically should not have Todd Bowles as their head coach. I mean, specifically, I think that's pretty much worn out at this point in time, and I think it's going to be going into a rebuild fairly, very quickly with them. I got the Saints winning the division. I think it's going to be between them and the Panthers. But I think specifically, I know Dennis Allen, there's a little bit, obviously, some backlash, last year as well with him. But I like Derek Carr a lot. I think those are a good pickup for the Saints. And I like their defense a lot too. So I'm going to go with the Saints by a couple games. I've had them probably winning about 11. Yeah, I think it's going to be just enough to win the division.
Isaiah, I'll go to you here. Who do you like in this wide open NFC South?
I agree with Ben. Give me the New Orleans Saints. I think the New Orleans Saints made really massive improvements this offseason. Their biggest problem was that they didn't have a quarterback. They started Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston all throughout last season, and both of them, flat out were crap. And, their defense held up. Their defense was very good. But it was like the Jets. When you don't have a quarterback and your offense can't stay on the field, your defense is going to get really, really tired, and they're going to break. And so that's what happened to their defense. I think their defense has another great year, led by Cam Jordan. I think that they're able to run the football very effectively once Alvin Kamara comes back. And I just think that, with Derek Carr there, his ability to spread the ball around, and Michael Thomas and all the guys that they have, I just think the Saints, are the best team in that division. I think the Panthers, the thing with the Panthers is, it takes a year at least for these rookies to get acclimated into the NFL, and I think it will be the same with Bryce Young. Bryce Young, I think he might start off a little bit slow, but under Frank Reich, I think that he's in good hands. That offense with Thielen, with Miles Sanders there, the offensive line, the defense with Evero leading that defense, like you mentioned, Loro. I think the Panthers will be good, but I think the Saints are the better team right now, and they have more veterans. And then the Falcons, like you mentioned, I'm not really a big believer in Desmond Ridder. When I watched him, he couldn't throw the football. He was very good at running, but he couldn't throw it. And they got to get Drake London and Kyle Pitts more involved if they want to have success. And I just think that defense also is a big concern for me. And then for the Bucks, the Bucks are that team that's on the cusp of rebuilding. I think Mike Evans might be gone after this season. The Tampa Bay Bucks, they should honestly start Kyle Trask. Like, I don't know why you're starting Baker Mayfield. Like, we all know what Baker Mayfield is. Start Kyle Trask. I mean, he showed at Florida that he had a lot of potential. I mean, this kid balled out of Florida and was one of the best passers to ever come out of Florida. And he's been with the Bucks for 3 seasons now. He's learned a lot there. He's got a big arm. Like, what do you have to lose? It's like we talked about on Ben's show yesterday in the baseball segment. Like, just play the kids. You're not going anywhere at this point in time. Like, if you're going to play the kids, just play Trask. See what you have in him. See if you may have a young star like the Niners did with Brock Purdy. And if he balls out, great. You have a superstar quarterback. But if he doesn't, then you can draft another quarterback next season. So I think the Bucks should start Trask. I think that, a prediction that I have is I think Kyle Trask will start, but I think he's going to start after like 3 or 4 games.
We'll have to see about that. I don't really think Baker Mayfield is a long-term solution for the Bucks, but we'll just have to wait and see here. But now we go on to the NFC West. I know who I'm picking. I know who Isaiah's picking to win that division. I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers. I think finally they have their franchise quarterback in Brock Purdy. The offense is tailor-made for him with weapons such as Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Defensively, their defensive line is there with Nick Bosa, Vernon Hargreaves, Art Armstead, and Fred Warner. The secondary is okay, but I do think the Niners have a really good roster heading into this season. But I think they could be on a redemption year after losing to the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. So, Isaiah, I'm going to start with you on this. I mean, I think San Fran is going to be the best team in that division. The Rams, I think, are going to be pretty good if Matthew Stafford's healthy. The Seahawks with Geno Smith, I mean, they had a turnaround year with him. Geno Smith still knows this offense pretty good. With Josh Jackson, Smith-Njigba paired with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, the Seahawks have one of the best receiving cores on paper. But at the same time, Kyler Murray is probably going to be back in October, but the Arizona Cardinals are probably not going to start the season very well.
Yeah, I think this is the division that I think we're probably all going to agree on. Give me the Niners. I think that the Niners have been hungry for revenge ever since they lost that NFC Championship game. They've been talking about revenge ever since then, and they're hungry for revenge. And I think the Niners have the best roster right now in the NFC. Brock Purdy's the franchise quarterback for the Niners. He's tailor-made, like you mentioned, Loro, for Kyle Shanahan's offense. Being that guy that is a passer who's very smart, a guy that gets the ball out quick. I think that he's going to have a great year in year 2 under Kyle Shanahan's offense. Remember, guys, every quarterback that's played for Kyle Shanahan in year 2 of Kyle Shanahan's offense is when they really have that amazing season, and then they just take that step up and blossom. And Brock Purdy, in his first 8 games under Shanahan, he was already very good, but I think he's going to take another step up and have that great season in year 2 under Kyle Shanahan for the Niners. And then McCaffrey, I think, if he stays healthy, that's the big question mark. If he stays healthy, I think McCaffrey's going to be great. He's tailor-made for that offense as well. That offense is Deebo and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, Juwan Jennings. And don't sleep on a guy that I think, Ben, you know very well. Ronnie Bell, the rookie out of Michigan. This kid flashed some insane speed in the preseason, both as a kick returner and as a receiver. And the Niners have 3 of the fastest receivers in the NFL with Ray McLeod, Deebo Samuel, and Ronnie Bell. And, Ronnie Bell looked like a poor man's Tyreek Hill out there in preseason with the way that this dude was just speeding through everybody. And if the Niners if he can actually somehow be like Tyreek Hill with that speed, and they can utilize his speed and, utilize him with jet sweeps and stuff like that, I mean, that offense will be even more dangerous if you add him to the fold. And that defense with Bosa, with Armstead, with Drake Jackson, who I think will have a breakout season opposite of Nick Bosa. They're going to be electric. And you have Hargraves, the best defensive player on the market. He signs with you this offseason. I don't know how, but he signs with you this offseason. And you add him to the fold. Oh my gosh, that defense is going to be even more scary. The linebackers with Warner and Greenlaw, they're going to be what they typically are, a great linebacking core. And the cornerbacks, I am a little bit afraid because I don't trust Diamador Lenore. I don't really trust Ambry Thomas. Charvarius Ward is there, but the Niners lack depth in the secondary, which is the only thing that really concerns me. But I think the Niners have, on paper, the best roster in the NFC. Then you look at the Seahawks. My bold prediction for the Seahawks, fellas, is that I think that Drew Lock will replace Geno Smith at some point in the season as the starting quarterback. Because I just think that Geno Smith in the second half of the season, you saw, he got figured out by a lot of the defenses in the NFL, and he wasn't that good in the second half of the season. And with Njigba there, with DK Metcalf, with Tyler Lockett, they have one of the best wide receiving corps in the NFL. And I really expect that Pete Carroll's going to want that gunslinger. He's not going to want that dink and dunk quarterback like Geno Smith. And Drew Lock is that gunslinger, the guy that throws the football down the field type of quarterback that can unleash that wide receiving corps that Seattle has. But I'm still not sold on Seattle's defense, so that's why I don't think Seattle will be that good. The Rams. Oh, the Rams are going to be third because I just think with Matthew Stafford, he's one hit away from retirement. And that offensive line is not going to be good. That I think Stafford gets battered around out there, sadly. And, this might be his last season of his career. And Cooper Kupp, I don't know if you guys saw, but he's already had injury issues. Like, he's coming off the torn ACL, and now apparently he's having a hamstring injury this during training camp, and now he's got to see a specialist, and that's never good. Like, when you have to see a specialist, that means like that injury is worse than they're letting on. So I think that Cooper Kupp could miss at least half the season, especially when you're seeing a specialist. That means it's very, very serious. And that defense outside of Aaron Donald, I just don't think it's that good. Ramsey's gone now. That secondary is not going to be that good. And Arizona, Kyler Murray, Laurel, I just read he's not going to be ready until at least December. So, and with their quarterback play, they're starting Joshua Dobbs, week 1. Like, they're tanking for Caleb Williams in the NFL draft, or Shedeur Sanders. They're not going to be good at all. If they had Colt McCoy, maybe they could win a couple of games. But with Joshua Dobbs, I mean, that guy could not move the football at all against the Jacksonville Jaguars the last time we saw him. So San Francisco is going to win this division, and they're going to win this division by a lot of games.
I'll go to you, Ben. Who do you like in the NFC West?
I got the I was about to say the Cardinals. Sorry. The 49ers. Sorry. Maybe the Cardinals for the number 1 overall pick, sure. But yes, oh my God, the 49ers are going to win this division. Oh man. I think that I agree with Isaiah. They're one of the best NFC rosters on paper. I actually have them in our NFL predictions going all the way. But I think personally, like you said, Isaiah, Brock Purdy obviously has another year under his belt. Really good coach in Kyle Shanahan. Obviously with their weapons with McCaffrey, Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle, and then defensively, you obviously have both. So hopefully that they can get that holdout figured out, because it sounds like right now that there's still some sides apart with the negotiation on that. Obviously that's never good to kind of still have a holdout by this point in time. But you have Hargraves, you have Greenlaw, you have Warner. I mean, that defensive front, if you get a really good defensive front with defensive line and linebackers, you're going to be set. And obviously their offense is really loaded too. So I have them at 1. I got the Seattle Seahawks at 2. I'll actually have them in my NFC wild card. I still think that they're going to be pretty solid, actually. I do really like Geno Smith. I know that obviously had a tough second half, but I really like that overall offense still with Metcalf, Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, whoever like from Ohio State. And then obviously our defense is all right. So obviously I think I'm gonna have two. Then the Rams. I think that the Rams are going to be kind of starting to be more of a rebuild type state. And Laura, I don't know if you have heard from me yet, but I said it on my show, and I said I've already heard it before. My fiery hot take is Aaron Donald at the mid part of this season gets traded, and I think that he's going to get traded to an NFC contending type team. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think specifically that Aaron Donald is going to get one thing and one thing only. He wants to get another ring. And I just don't think at this point in time that the Rams' future, that they have that in terms of that case. So I think specifically that even if Cooper Kupp's going to be out for like half the season, Matt Stafford might be one hit away. There's just a lot of questions over there. And I think that's one thing specifically that they want to get under the cap. They're going to have to make some tough decisions. So that's my big fiery hot take already early on in the show. And then my last thing is the Cardinals. I think that specifically, personally, I would not be shocked, guys, if they take for Caleb Williams that Kyler Murray's gone. I think that there's a lot of disconnect. There's been a lot of disconnect between him and that coaching staff for a while. And I mean, I don't know where he'd go, but if you're tanking to draft the number one overall pick, you're not obviously going to become the number one overall quarterback if you get Caleb Williams. There's no way. So I'll be curious to kind of know specifically what happens there, but I think that they might get 4 wins tops. I think that the Niners are probably going to get 14 wins. They're probably going to go 14-3. And then I have probably Seattle at 10 wins, and then probably the Rams at like 8 wins, and then probably like the Cardinals around 4 to 5 wins.
Well, we'll go to our comments here. Christy says that the Cardinals are so screwed this season.
Beyond.
And she also picks San Fran to win the division as well. So, anyways, now we'll go to our wild card team. So for me, my NFC wild cards are the Cowboys, the Lions, and the Giants. What about you, Isaiah?
Wow. So my wild card team is my wild card team is I got the Philadelphia Eagles as one of them. I got the Dallas Cowboys as another one. And then last but not least, I think if I'm not mistaken, I picked Detroit as another wild card team. I think I picked Detroit as my other one. I think the Eagles, like I said, they're gonna take a step back. They're gonna have a Super Bowl hangover, but they're still very talented to make the playoffs. So I've got them in the playoffs. Cowboys, they're very talented both offensively and defensively. They're gonna get in, but let me just say this: this is Dak's prove it season, because Jerry Jones, I think they could move on from Dak if he doesn't have a good year. Like, I think if he turns the football over a lot, like last season, and the Cowboys fall short of the NFC Championship game, I think that you're going to see Dak Prescott being replaced by, get ready for this, fellas, Trey Lance. You don't make that Trey Lance trade without putting Dak Prescott on notice. So I got the Cowboys at 2. Number 3, Detroit, because I believe in Dan Campbell. I believe in the Lions. They have very talented offense with Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, and those guys. And then that defense, I think, will be better, but not as good as what everybody's projecting.
And what about you, Ben? Who are your 3 wild cards here?
Yeah, so I have the Cowboys, Panthers, and Seahawks.
Well, it's here. But anyways, now, folks, it's time for the fun part. It's time to make our week 1 predictions and how we're doing our scoring breakdown this year. It's going to be based on our point differential. It could be by field goal, by touchdown. If you predict the game to happen in overtime, you can predict the final play, whether if it's a game-winning field goal or a pick 6, fumble recovery for a touchdown. So that's how we're doing it this year, folks. So our first game we're going to talk about is the Thursday night game. It is the kickoff game on Thursday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions, where the Chiefs are going to raise their Super Bowl banner. And as for the Lions, they're in for a test, guys. Going into Arrowhead Stadium, and Dan Campbell loves to compete. But I think the Lions are going to give the Chiefs a game here. But at the same time, I'm going to say the Kansas City Chiefs win on a game-winning field goal by Harrison Butker as time expires in the fourth quarter. I say the Chiefs win 31-28. What about you, Ben? Who do you like in this matchup?
Well, first of all, I think this is a really good first game to start the season. The Lions, of course, are getting now the recognition that they've had, obviously, after last year. And, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs. They're playing at home. They play really well to start, typically their seasons in the past. Of course, when you have Mahomes there, magic usually happens. I think that Travis Kelce has 2 touchdowns in this game. I think Mahomes has 3 total. I do think that Goff will have 2 touchdowns and a pick. I do specifically think that the Chris Jones absence possibly could be a massive factor. And I think that the Lions are going to be able to score consistently in this game. But I think offensively that Mahomes is going to get this done, especially because it's at their place. I'll have a final score of 30-17.
What about you, Isaiah? Who do you like winning this football game between the Chiefs and the Lions?
What a fun way to kick off the 2023 NFL season, man. I think that we are in for an absolute electric show on Thursday night. I think we're in for a very fun shootout on Thursday night. And I think that we're not really going to see a lot of defenses. This is going to be like Colorado versus TCU, but on a tamer level. I think that we're going to see it come down to the final possession, and whomever gets a stop at the end will win this football game. So I think I can't believe I'm saying this. Give me Detroit, because I think Detroit pulls the upset, because the biggest thing is Chris Jones I don't think is going to play. And even if he does play, he's going to be super rusty because he hasn't shown up all preseason long. He hasn't shown up all training camp long. If he comes back, he literally will only have like 1 day of practice, and that's it. And you can't be effective on 1 day of practice. You can't shake off the rust on just 1 day of practice. So give me Detroit. I think we're in for a really good game. I think Jared Goff and Mahomes will both show up in this game. I think that Mahomes throws for at least 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in this game. I think Goff throws for at least 380 plus yards and 4 to 5 touchdowns in this game. It's going to be a back and forth shootout, and it's going to come down to whoever gets the final stop. And I trust Detroit's defense more over a Chris Jones-less Kansas City defense. And I trust and I think that Detroit's going to get that final stop. So give me Detroit winning this game. I'm going to go 41 to 38 or 41 to 35. Let's go that way.
Well, not bad, but now we're going to go to our favorite team games here. So we'll start with the New England Patriots taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Ben, I'll start with you on this one. Well, the New England Patriots have, Bailey Zappe's probably on the roster, probably going to be the backup quarterback to Mac Jones. Well, this is a task for the Patriots because they're playing a really good Philadelphia Eagles team. If they get blown out by the Eagles, I wouldn't be surprised, but I want this to be a special, special day for TB12, who will be honored at halftime. But I really think that this Patriots team will be better. I think offensively they will be better, but the schedule that they have is brutal and it's tough. And a lot of people are favoring the Patriots in some games this year, but not many. So, Ben, Isaiah, give me the Patriots in an upset over the Philadelphia Eagles. I say it's going to be a 24-21 win on Tom Brady's night because it's at home, it's at our place. The fans are going to go crazy, and they want the Patriots to get a win on a day where they honor Tom Brady at halftime. So I think the Eagles will eventually win more games down the line, but I just think that this one game, I could see the Philadelphia Eagles losing this game, but I could expect Jalen Hurts to have a really good game. I think Mac Jones will also have a really good game under the new look offense that Bill O'Brien is installing, and I think it's going to be going back to the play action spread offense that the Patriots are used to running. Now that Bill O'Brien is back, we don't have to deal with any more of this Matt Patricia crap, Ben. So, Ben, I mean, you talk about the Patriots here. I think they're going to get this one just for Tom Brady, but I really think the Patriots will probably – I think offensively New England's going to be better offensively. I think defensively they're going to be pretty good. They're going to find a way to get to Jalen Hurts and chase him out of the pocket. And the Patriots still have a brutal schedule.
Yeah, so we did our predictions yesterday, me, Isaiah, and James. And for this game specifically, I wanted to pick the Patriots. Obviously, it's a Sunday game. It's Brady's return. Remember, guys, it's the new Lighthouse. So the overall noise for Gillette Stadium is going to be an overall feel where the fans are going to be a lot louder. I can't wait to go back this year in the fall because that overall Lighthouse. Seeing it already at training camp was great, but in terms of a game perspective, it's going to be loud. But I have the Eagles spoiling Brady's return. I think specifically, Laura, though, it's going to be close. I think it's going to be really close at halftime. I actually think it's going to be tied at halftime. But I think in the second half that Mac Jones has a crucial INT. Even though it might probably not going to be a bad overall throw, the Eagles specifically do a really good job in man coverage. And I think that they're going to find a way to create a turnover that's going to be crucial. And I have the Eagles winning 30-17. I have Jalen Hurts having 3 touchdowns in this game, including a rushing touchdown. The Patriots, if you guys don't remember, they have a hard time against mobile quarterbacks. They've had a hard time in the last couple of years. Bill Belichick has always had a hard time with that. And I think that's one reason why the Patriots wanted to go and get Matt Corral, is because he's an overall rushing quarterback, and they have to have somebody this week to learn on scout to learn, helping with that mobile quarterback stuff. Remember, last year, the Patriots got blown out against Justin Fields last year in the Bears at home, and he was able to just rush around like crazy all night. But I think it's going to be close. Like I said, I think the defense, it's going to be a work in progress. I think it's going to be good this year, but I think that the Eagles are just too much offensively. I have 30-17. I have Jalen Hurts with 3 touchdowns, including 1 to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And then I obviously have him having a rushing touchdown.
Before I get to Isaiah on this pick here, Ben, I'll tell you, I really think Christian Gonzalez is going to have a great rookie season. I'm really excited about this kid out of Oregon, a guy that I think is going to develop into an elite corner on this team. Bill Belichick loves drafting corners or defensive backs in the first round of the draft. He's a guy I'm really excited about. I'm really optimistic about Ramondre Stevenson continuing to make strides, getting better each year. I mean, he has become really reliable on this offense. I think Bill O'Brien is going to unleash him. I really think that 2 tight end set with Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry is going to be back, just because I really think Bill O'Brien is going to unleash that part of the offense. I think our receiving core is going to be better this year. I think Tyquan Thornton is a guy I really think is going to ball out this year, even though he's going to miss the first 4 games due to injury. I know that when he's out there, he is electric.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason why they signed Jalen Reagor, is because, right now they have Kendrick Bourne, they have Devontae Parker, who's likely to be back this week. They have, obviously, Gesicki and Henry at the tight ends. And then, obviously, Reagor, I think, might be their wide receiver 4. He might get a little bit of playing time, but I'm really excited for their 2 young guys, Isaiah and Laurel. Watch out for Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, 2 guys specifically that they drafted this year that, Douglas has a lot of yards after the catch ability. Kayshon Boutte was a draft pick they picked out of LSU. I think those 2 guys could really break down and get some playing time on Sunday. And I think that specifically speed is a massive factor in terms of the Patriots, specifically at wideout. And I think that they could bring that a little bit, because they're going to need all the bodies in the world to be a team like Philly. So I think that they're going to get a lot of time, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I just think that the Eagles are just going to be a little bit too much to handle the first game.
Isaiah, I'll go to you here. Who do you like between the Patriots and Eagles?
Yeah, for me, it's tough because with Tom Brady's return, right? I could see, the Patriots being so hyped up for this game, and get off to a great start because of the return of Brady. The emotions will be pumping up there, in Foxborough, and it's in New England, and it's opening day, and there's just gonna be so much emotion involved. So I definitely could see the Patriots just getting off to a great start and even leading the Eagles at the half, or being tied with them. But I think Philadelphia just has too much firepower with Jalen Hurts, with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I will be interested to see how the Patriots defense is able to hold up against those two receivers as well as stop Jalen Hurts. Ben brought up a great point about how the Patriots defense struggles against mobile quarterbacks. They've historically been not that good against mobile quarterbacks. Justin Fields, like you mentioned, Ben, last year, had a really great game against the Patriots, running all over the New England Patriots defense. So, Jalen Hurts, I would not be shocked if he has a big day with his legs, just because the Patriots are so worried about stopping Devontae Smith. They're so worried about stopping A.J. Brown. They're so worried about stopping that running game. And then they forget about Jalen Hurts, and then he's just running all over the Pats defense. But I think in the end, I think the Eagles win this just because they have too much firepower on offense, with Hurts and with Devontae Smith, with A.J. Brown, and the running backs that they have. And, Nick Sirianni is a great offensive mastermind, and he's going to have the Eagles ready to play for sure. Give me Philly, but I do think the Patriots lead at halftime. Give me Philly. I'm going to go 27-24.
Basically, game-winning field goal by Jake Elliott.
Yes, sir. Game-winning field goal by Jake Elliott, with about 5 seconds to spare.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk about Isaiah's team, the San Francisco 49ers. They're taking on Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I tell you, I think this is going to be probably the best game in the 10 a.m. slot. I'm going to go San Fran, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to come down to a field goal. And I think that the Niners are going to be great. I think they're going to be ready for that offense for Pickett. But I think the Niners find a way to win, but it's not going to be easy, Isaiah. So I'm going to go with San Fran with a 27-24 win over Pittsburgh.
I think that you're right. This is going to be the best game of the 10 a.m. slot. I think that, everybody's a lot of people that are talking about this potentially, the Niners are going to, run all over Pittsburgh. That's simply not true. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, will be a scary team this season. I'm personally scared for this game because Pittsburgh's got a ferocious front, on defense with TJ Watt and those guys. And the Niners' offensive line is just flat out not that good. And so I'm kind of scared for Brock Purdy. I'm scared that he's going to be running for his life all day. I'm scared that he's going to be getting hit all day. And one hit to that elbow and he's got, he's back to the surgery room. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think both defenses play well in this game. But I think for the Niners, I do think Purdy does make a couple plays late to help the Niners win this game. I think that Purdy will be able to manage it greatly, not turn the football over. I think that, the speed of the Niners is, I think, what's really going to put the Niners on top with McCaffrey late, with Ronnie Bell, with Deebo Samuel, his physicality as well. Give me San Francisco. I got San Francisco winning at 19-16. I think Kenny Pickett throws an interception halfway through the game. And that's going to be very costly because the Niners defense prides on turnovers. And, you guys know in these close games, one turnover can just flip the deal on these games. And whoever wins just wins it because of these little things. So give me San Francisco to win it 19-16. I think Pittsburgh tries to come back late, but they fall short late in that game.
What about you, Ben? Who do you like between the Niners and the Steelers?
Yeah, I said on my show yesterday, it's going to be a close game. I think personally that the line right now is -3 San Francisco. So I think it's going to come down within 3 to 10 points. I think personally, though, when it's all said and done, the Niners are going to have a massive turnover on Kenny Pickett, and that'll be a deciding factor in the second half.
Well, we'll have to find out here. But anyways, now we are going to talk about the Carolina Panthers. They're taking on the Atlanta Falcons. This is the debut of Frank Reich as the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. I mean, obviously we know that he was unfairly let go by the Indianapolis Colts because of Jim Irsay's impatience. But I think the Carolina Panthers are going to come out on top over the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is going to be like last year where it was so high scoring. I think it will be a 45-42 win for the Carolina Panthers. I think it's going to come down to a game-winning field goal, but I also think that Bryce Young is going to scramble for like 15 yards for the kicker to kick a short field goal attempt to win the game. Isaiah, what do you like in that matchup between the Falcons and the Panthers?
Give me the Panthers. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this game, give me 1 second. This game is it's in Atlanta, but I don't think it's going to make a big difference. I do think that it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people are anticipating. I think it's going to be, really good on offense or both sides. With the Panthers defense last year, they weren't really that good against the run. The Falcons they have a really good rushing attack, led by Alec Gaylor, I think that's his name, the running back, and also they have Bijan Robinson, the rookie out of Texas. So I think they'll be able to pound the football effectively. But for the Panthers, the reason why I'm picking Carolina is because they have a better passing attack. And to win in the NFL, you have to have a good passing attack to win. You just can't run the football all that often without a effective passing attack. And I don't really trust Desmond Ridder with his arm. I think Bryce Young has a really good day. I think that they're able to run the football and supplement the run game with the pass game. And then the defense will be able to get a couple turnovers to be able to give the ball back to the offense and get a couple more touchdowns. So give me Carolina. I'm going to go Carolina winning this game 31-17.
I'll go to you, Ben. Who do you like in that matchup between the Panthers and the Falcons?
I'm going to go Falcons. I think it's going to be a really close game, like Isaiah mentioned. I think personally that the Falcons are going to have a last-minute drive, and they're going to get a game-winning field goal. I think Bryce Young has a pretty good day. I think he'll have at least 2 touchdowns, but I think Desmond Ridder is also going to be up for the challenge in this one. I think the rushing attack is going to be crucial. And also, too, Brian Burns could be possibly out. I don't know specifically if he's going to be out, but he is apparently he skipped this past walkthrough for the Panthers, and there might be some turmoil between him and the Panthers brass. I know that last year the Panthers are potentially going to try to trade Brian Burns. So obviously that's a massive key, specifically if he can play or not. But yeah, I think the Falcons are going to have a game-winning field goal by Younghoe Koo. And I think the Falcons are going to have a good start to their season, despite obviously their finishing record.
All right, next up, we're going to talk about the head coaching debut of DeMeco Ryans for the Houston Texans. I mean, Isaiah had a lot to say about him. C.J. Stroud is making his first career NFL start against the Baltimore Ravens. I really think that this is going to be first game jitters for C.J. Stroud and also for DeMeco Ryans. I think that the Ravens are going to come out with the win. I think they're going to blow out Houston. I think Houston will only score 3 points, but I kind of think that the offense is probably going to be exposed here just because how good Baltimore's defense is. So I think this is going to be more of a first game jitters for the Houston Texans, Isaiah. Who do you like in this matchup, and how excited are you to see DeMeco Ryans make his head coaching debut?
Very excited. I can't wait to see him running up and down the sidelines, screaming like crazy, celebrating like crazy, like Robert Saleh when the Texans do something good. CJ Stroud, as Ben knows, with him being an Ohio State fan, I think CJ Stroud will buck the trend of Ohio State quarterbacks being bad in the NFL. He's not your typical spread offense quarterback. He's a guy that, ran a pro style offense at Ohio State and ran it really well at Ohio State. And I just think that when you look at the Texans, CJ Stroud, first game, Ravens defense, I think will take a step back. They're not really that good. They lost Campbell. They lost a bunch of other guys as well. The Texans, Will Anderson's going to be there. The Texans, I don't know. There's something about the Texans where I'm like, you know what? First game is always, there's a lot of emotion in the first game. And when you have a lot of emotion, you tend to be more motivated and you tend to play better. So I think that CJ Stroud, the thing is with the Ravens, I just don't trust their secondary. Their secondary is not really that great right now. A lot of players on their secondary are older and past their prime. I think CJ Stroud actually has a very good day, and I think that with Lamar, I think the DeMeco Ryans led defenses have always been able to pretty much contain mobile quarterbacks. So give me, believe it or not, I'm going with the upset, fellas. Give me the Texans. Give me the Texans to pull off the upset against the Ravens, and H-Town will stand up on Sunday night.
Wow, Isaiah's first upset of week one. Ben, are you going to continue that trend, or are you going to go with Baltimore?
I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with Baltimore. I think that right now, the cover right now is -10 Baltimore. I think that they're going to pretty much be right around that spread. Personally, I have the Ravens 23-14. I think that CJ Stroud's not going to have a horrible game, but I think specifically that there's going to be a late game turnover that the Texans make, because I know that the Texans are a young team. They're bound to make mistakes in a lot of their games, at least in the last couple of years. And the Ravens specifically always a lot of the times have defenses that create turnovers. And I think that specifically that the Ravens are going to do a really good job. I think the biggest thing about the Ravens this year is I think that Lamar Jackson is going to be a much better passer. I think that this offseason is really motivated to become a much better passer. I think he's going to show that early on in the season. Personally, I think that Mark Andrews is going to have a massive game. So fantasy owners, Mark Andrews, you're going to be in for a big one. And I just think defensively, the Texans, I think it's just going to be a big work in progress. So I got the Ravens 23-14.
Anyways, now to answer Isaiah's question here, our next game will be the Bengals and the Browns. So, man, I really think this is going to be a great game, fellas. So I'm going to pick the Bengals to win in a field goal, 34-31. Evan McPherson is the hero in week one. Joe Burrow is back. He is playing after missing the preseason. I think how it's going to all set up is that Jamar Chase is going to set up McPherson to a manageable field goal attempt. And as for the Browns, I think Deshaun Watson's going to have a great game, but I also think that Cleveland will probably be better offensively. Their defense wasn't that good last year, but I think their defense will be better. So give me the Bengals in this game, Isaiah and Ben. I'll go to you, Ben, next. Who do you like in round one of the Battle of Ohio?
Ben, are you going to go first or should I go first?
You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, something with technical difficulties, I think. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think specifically that they're going to win this game 27-20. It's going to be a really close game. And I think that Joe Burrow is going to have a massive game in this one. He's going to at least have 3 touchdowns, 1 to Jamar Chase. And I think specifically that the rushing attack is going to do a really good job on Cleveland in this game specifically. In terms of Deshaun Watson, I have to respectfully disagree. I just don't know specifically how much the Browns offense is going to be this year. I really just don't know specifically how much Deshaun Watson really has left in him. I know obviously he's very talented as a quarterback, but I just don't. I mean, I think that he's going to have pretty good games. I just don't know if he's the same guy potentially like we had back in Houston. So I'm going to have 27-20. I think Nick Chubb's going to have a good game in this one, but I think that the Bengals are going to have a touchdown late and be able to hold the Browns late in this game, and I think they're going to win 27-20.
What about you, Isaiah? Who do you like in this matchup between the Bengals and Browns in round one of the Battle of Ohio?
Give me the clean sweep. I think that the Cincinnati Bengals take the first round of the Battle of Ohio. The Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow, with Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon is back as well with T. Higgins also there. I just think they have a better offensive group than the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns defense, like you mentioned, Laurel, they weren't that great last year. And I just think that Joe Burrow and company are going to be able to, they're going to be able to slice and dice the Cleveland Browns defense all day long. Deshaun Watson, he's a very good quarterback. But when you look at the Browns' weapons, they have Nick Chubb there. They have Amari Cooper. They should be good. But a lot of their weapons are just guys that are either injury prone or guys that are just over the hill when it comes to their age. So the Browns are a very weird team. Like, they are a team that has a great quarterback, but around him, the supporting cast is a bunch of misfits on their ball club. And I just think that for the Browns, there's so much pressure on Kevin Stefanski this season. I think if Kevin Stefanski and the Browns, let's say they have like another year like last year where they only win like 6 games, I could see the Browns firing Kevin Stefanski and moving on to another coach that can help this roster. So give me the Bengals. I think it's going to be a great offensive game. Both defenses aren't that great. I think it's going to be great offensive battles between both sides. But I think in the end, I think Cincinnati takes it. I think it's going to come down to the final 2 possessions.
Now, we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Indianapolis Colts. This is Shane Steichen's first game as the head coach of the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson's going to have a great first game, but you know what? I think Brandon McManus kicks a game-winning field goal for the Jaguars, and I think the Jaguars will finally snap out of their losing streak in Indianapolis, Isaiah.
Give me the Jags. I think the Jags go into Indy and roll the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson, he's going to have a pretty good debut, but here's the thing with Anthony Richardson. The problem with him at Florida was that he was very turnover prone. He always turned the football over at Florida. He's not that great of a passer yet, and the Jags are going to force him to throw the football in the second half and late in this football game, and the Jags are going to get turnovers because of that, because of his raw passing abilities. And right now, when you look at the Jags, they have a very good offense. If you give the football back to them multiple times, they're going to destroy you. And I think Trevor Lawrence, I said this, I think before the I said this, I think on one of the shows that we did prior to tonight, and that is, I think Trevor Lawrence will win the MVP this season. I think that he's on the track to being an MVP candidate in year 2 under Doug Peterson. I think he takes major strides forward in year 2, and I think that he's going to have a major day in this game. He's going to throw for at least 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns in this football game, and I think the Jags go into Indy, they beat the Colts, and they beat them by at least 17.
I'll go to you, Ben, here. Who do you like in this matchup between the Jaguars and Colts?
I got the Jags. I think with this Jaguars team, they're going to be a really tough team this year. And I think Anthony Richardson's going to have some growing pains early. And without Jonathan Taylor there, it's obviously massive for his development early. And so I think that the Jags take it, and they'll win by 2 scores.
Anyways, now that being said, here now we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, Isaiah, you may not like this pick, but I'm actually picking the Vikings in a blowout. I think Baker Mayfield is probably going to get exposed. I think this is the only good game. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to have a really good day defensively, but I think offensively they're going to toast the Tampa Bay up defense here, Isaiah.
I agree with you. And here's the hot take for this game, fellas. The Kyle Trask era will be upon us during this game. I expect Baker Mayfield to struggle mightily against the Minnesota Vikings. And get ready for this. He's going to get benched midway in this game. I don't think he's got a long leash to begin with going into this game. I think that, Todd Bowles only went with him because of the contract that he signed and also because he's the veteran option right now when he didn't want to show up a veteran by putting a rookie over him. I just believe that when you look at this game, it's in Minnesota, tough place to play. Minnesota's defense, I think, will be going after Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield gets the ball out very slow. So I think that he's going to have a lot of trouble with turnovers in this game. The Vikings are going to roll past the Bucs defense. Kirk Cousins is going to go off in this game, and I think that they're going to win an easy one just because of all the factors that I just named. But this is going to be the only game that Minnesota wins, I believe, in the next 7 games.
What about you, Ben? I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be in a really I think they're probably going to get toasted here, Ben.
You know what? I'm actually going to go with the low-scoring game in this one. I think that both offenses are very inconsistent, especially when you have two quarterbacks that are very inconsistent. Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins, you just don't know what type of quarterback you're going to get for that specific game. I think Justin Jefferson's going to get his, but outside of his, who's going to be the other guy, obviously, to step up? Obviously, it could be TJ Hawkinson. You're without Dalvin Cook. You do have Alexander Mattison at running back. You obviously have a little bit of ability there, but I just don't know specifically who they're going to have outside of Justin Jefferson and potentially Hawkinson to really carry the load there. You're without Adam Thielen now there. So I know Jordan Addison might be a breakout star there. I think he's going to be really good there. But and in terms of the Bucs too, I just don't know specifically how much Baker has left. I agree with you guys. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he has a short leash really in the first couple weeks of their season. But Todd Bowles being their head coach, I think is going to really be tough because he's more defensive-minded coach already as it is. And, last year, obviously, he was fortunate when he had the GOAT. So, now without the GOAT there, I'm wondering specifically how much can be able to, coach an offense and coach it with obviously one of the greatest to ever do it and go with an overall, I guess you could say at this point in time with Baker, he's more of a project type quarterback. So I'm going to go 21-13. Vikings in this game. I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game, not a lot of points, but I think the Vikings are going to pull it out at the end and win this one.
Next up, guys, we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans taking on the New Orleans Saints. I'll tell you guys this. The Ryan Tannehill era should have been over by now. You got to start Will Levis right now. He should have been the week 1 starter. So I'm going to go with the Saints. And I think that Tennessee Titans are going to get blanked. They're going to get no points throughout this game. Just because I think the Saints defense, is going to be able to stop Derrick Henry, guard DeAndre Hopkins. And I felt like the Will Levis era should have been now than later, Isaiah. So who do you like in this matchup between the Saints and the Titans?
Give me New Orleans, and give me New Orleans in a blowout. The Titans offense, they're very run heavy with Derrick Henry. I expect Derrick Henry and the Titans offense to be stopped all day in this game. The Saints defense is very good against the run. Cam Jordan and those guys up front are going to have a major day against that Tennessee offense, which is very run heavy. They're going to stack the box. They're going to force Ryan Tannehill to have to beat them with his arm. And I just don't believe that Ryan Tannehill will be able to do that. And DeAndre Hopkins, he's a one-man show. He's a one-man show out there. They're going to double him. They're going to triple him. And they're going to make Ryan Tannehill throw it to Treylon Burks, who I don't think will be able to create a lot of separation against those Saints cornerbacks. backs. And when you look at the Saints offense is, you got Derek Carr there. Michael Thomas is going to be there. The running back, I know Kamara is not going to be there, but they still have some really good running backs outside of Kamara.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, Jamal Williams. Don't sleep on him. He's a very, very underrated back. I think that the Saints win and the Saints blow the Titans out 24-3.
And what about you, Ben? Who do you like between the Saints and the Titans?
I'm going to go Saints 31-10. I just not a big believer in this Titans team at all this year. I know Mike Vrabel's a really good coach, but they really just don't know specifically what they have for him at quarterback. I mean, Ryan Tannehill obviously is definitely not their answer. Will Levis is more of a project. Malik Willis, I don't think he's going to be a long-term answer either. So if you don't have your long-term answer, you don't know your overall direction of quarterback, it's going to be a long year. And you could just do so much being, Derrick Henry, as great as he is, to really carry your offense fully. And I agree with Isaiah. The Saints have a really good front. Their defensive front's really good. Obviously, Dennis Allen's a defensive type coach. He's their head coach. And, the Saints have really good offensive playmakers that I think are going to be a massive difference this year. Bringing Derek Carr, he's a spread type offense quarterback. You have Michael Thomas. You have Chris Olave, obviously a fan favorite of mine from Ohio State. They obviously have Kamara, Jamal Williams. They just got talent left and right. And I think specifically the Saints are going to score early and often this one. I think that the Titans are potentially going to possibly cover. I don't know the overall spread ends of this one, but they're going to win by 3 scores, 31-10 in this one. It's not going to be close.
Next up, Casey says the Saints will win 17-3. But anyways, the last of our 10 o'clock slate here. The Washington Commanders will host the Kyler Murray-less Arizona Cardinals. So I don't think the Cardinals are probably going to get a point in this game. I'm going to go the Washington Commanders in this one. I think that they're going to beat the Cardinals 35-0 just because they're starting Josh Dobbs. And I feel like that Jonathan Gannon in his head coaching debut, it's not going to go smoothly for him in this game. And I think that the fans there in DC it's going to be a sellout game here. First game of the owner for Josh Harris. That's why I think the Commanders will get this win. Isaiah and Ben, you guys are laughing here. Who do you got?
I'll go first on this before I give it to Ben. You guys remember Matt Patricia's debut as the Lions coach against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football? I don't know if you guys remember that, where Matt Patricia and the Lions, they got off to a good start. They were up 7-0. But then the Jets scored 40 unanswered points, and they won that game 40-7. And everybody was like, Matt Patricia needs to be fired after one game. This is going to be like that for Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon is in for a rude awakening in the nation's capital for his head coaching debut. The Cardinals are either going to start Josh Dobbs or Clayton Thune, the rookie quarterback, 6th-round pick in this game. And they're going to be going up against a ferocious front led by Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, with a revamped secondary, which I think will be very good this season. And you have a good offense led by Eric Bieniemy. Give me the Washington Commanders, first game under the new ownership of Josh Harris. They'll be playing with some great emotions in this game. Give me the Commanders to whoop the Arizona Cardinals, and I got the Commanders winning this game. I'm not going to go 35-0 like you, Loro, but I'm going to go blowout like you. Give me Commanders 27-7. I'll give the Cardinals 1 touchdown.
What about you, Ben? Who do you like in this matchup?
So I just checked the line in this one, and you guys would be shocked in terms of how close they have for this line. They have the Commanders at -7. I mean, they essentially have the Commanders to only win right now by a touchdown. I don't know what Vegas is thinking right now. I'm going to have to look at something else. I'll have to talk to Steven about that one because, man, oh, man, the Cardinals are going to have nothing this year. Nothing against Cardinal fans. I mean, I'm going to feel bad for them. but I had the Commanders in this one 24-3. I just think, when you don't have a quarterback, your future is absolutely bleak. Buda Baker already asked for a trade. I think he's probably going to be traded at mid part of the season to potentially a contender. And the Commanders, I think, are going to have a really underrated type season this year. I really think Sam Howell is going to really prove a lot of people wrong as a young quarterback. Obviously led by Eric Bieniemy, of course, who coached up Pat Mahomes in the last couple of years with the Chiefs. Obviously their running back, they have a two-headed monster with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. And then the receivers, watch out for Jahan Dotson this year. I think he's going to be a breakout receiver. He really shined in the preseason for the Commanders this year, and I really like in terms of what he's going to do for them. And then obviously you have one of the best underrated receivers, I think, in football, and Terry McLaurin. Your tight ends specifically aren't that bad either. I think they still have Logan Thomas there. So, I think it's going to be all Commanders in this one, and I think that the Cardinals are going to get a late field goal at the end.
Well, I'll tell you guys this now. We're going into the rest of the 1:25 p.m. Pacific time games. We'll go with the Rams and Seahawks here. It's in front of the 12s. I think Geno Smith is going to have a great game. But, guys, I think the Seahawks are probably going to blow out the Rams here. So, Isaiah, who do you like in this matchup?
Well, before we get to that, I do have some developing news to pass along. Everybody talked about Nick Bosa being out for the Niners Week 1 game against the Steelers. Well, there's reports coming out that the George Kittle could be out for Week 1 as well, in addition to Bosa. So if that's the case, I mean, there may be a lot of people changing their predictions when it comes to the Niners and the Steelers, because that's going to be a big loss for the Niners. But for the Seahawks game against the Rams, give me the Rams. I think that the Rams, they always play the Seahawks tough. You're going to have Matthew Stafford there. Cooper Kupp is most likely not going to play in this game, which is going to be a big blow for them. But when it comes to the quarterback matchup, I trust Matthew Stafford over Geno Smith all day. The Rams still have Aaron Donald on their defense. The Seahawks offensive line is not that great. The Seahawks defense also is not that good. I think the Rams will be able to run the football effectively with Cam Akers in this game. Matthew Stafford, I don't think will be forced to do a whole lot. I do think that Stafford will be able to slice and dice that Seahawks weak defense, and they're going to put up a lot of points in this game. So give me the Rams. The Seahawks, for me, they just look like a fraud, and they just look like a team that peaked really early because nobody really had a lot of game film on them, and then the Seahawks fell back to earth last season, and I think they continue that trend in their season opener. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play in this game, so that's going to be also a big blow for the Seattle Seahawks, because you lose one of your top playmakers on offense. So give me the Rams to win this game, and I think the Rams win this game by at least 10 points.
How about you, Ben? Who do you like in this matchup and why?
Well, before we get into it, hopefully George Kittle's going to be okay. That's obviously massive news. In terms of this game for the Seahawks and Rams, I'm going to go with the Seahawks 21-17. I think it's going to be a really good game. Those two teams usually play each other really, really tough. But I think personally that, without Cooper Kupp, that's a massive blow for that receiving core for the Rams. I just don't know who else might step up. I know they have Von Jefferson. They got Cam Akers there. But I think the Seahawks with Geno Smith, I think he's going to go for 2 touchdowns. I think that he's going to hit Tyler Lockett twice in this one. And then the rushing attack, I really like Kenneth Walker in terms of for the season. I think he's going to have 1 rushing touchdown. And then I think that the Seahawks are going to have a final stop to win this game and this one. So 21-17.
Well, I mean, Casey King, our friend, says that he's going to go with an upset because the Rams probably don't win the division, but they think that they'll be better than what people are thinking they are. And he says the Rams have played the Seahawks tough for years, even before McVay arrived. So, anyways, now we're going to the next late afternoon game. The oldest rivalry in the NFL is renewed at Soldier Field between the Bears and the Packers. I have this being a really competitive football game. I think Green Bay wins by a field goal, but I think Justin Fields is going to ball out in this game, guys. Isaiah, who do you like in the oldest rivalry in the NFL between the Bears and the Packers?
Give me the Cheeseheads, fellas. Jordan Love will have a massive, amazing debut in this game. It's going to be the start of superstardom for him. I like this kid ever since he was at Utah State. I thought he could ball, but it's going to be the Aaron Jones show. It's going to be the Jordan Love show. And like I said earlier when we were making our picks for the division, I don't trust Justin Fields. I don't trust him to be able to throw the football with accuracy when he needs to and be able to hurt teams with his arm. With his legs, yes, he can, but with his arms, I just don't believe in him to be able to pass the football efficiently. And the Packers are going to force him to pass, and he's going to have to answer the bell, and I just don't think he will be able to do that. And I just think Jordan Love, with that Bears defense not being the great defense that they once were, they only added Tremaine Edmonds in the offseason. That Bears defense is going to struggle to stop Jordan Love, and I think Love is going to put on a great show with both his arm and his legs, with Aaron Jones as well. And I think that the Packers win this game. They go to Soldier Field and win this game. And Christian Watson, watch out for him. I think he's going to have a great day and establish himself as a number one receiver in the NFL.
And on this one, who do you like in this matchup between the Bears and the Packers?
I'm going to go with the Bears. I think that obviously with Doug's deal is expensive. I think Jordan Love's having a good season this year, but I think he's going to struggle against Norton. And I think that Justin Fields is a big game.
Anyways, now, folks,
Loro, I think you're muted.
The Sean Payton, next game, guys, we're going to talk about the Raiders and the Broncos. The Sean Payton era is officially here, fellas. Oh, man, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. It's not going to be pretty because Jimmy Garoppolo is about to get toasted, and he's about to get hit a lot by this Denver Broncos defense. But anyways, with that being said, though, I'm picking the Broncos to win. I would say 56-3 because I just don't think the Raiders are going to be ready to play here, Isaiah. They're going to be in the Caleb Williams race along with the Arizona Cardinals. Who do you like in this one and why, Isaiah?
Sorry, I got a call just now. But for me, it's going to be the Denver Broncos. And we're going to be saying this all day and all year long, that Sean Payton is the truth. He's going to establish himself as one of the best coaches in the NFL and show the world why, hey, don't forget about me. When you talk about great coaches, like you talk about Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, don't forget about Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton's on a mission to just reestablish his credibility as one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's going to fix Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson has a great day in this game. The Raiders' defense, their defensive line is good, but they don't really get after the quarterback that well. So when they don't get after the quarterback that well, their linebackers and secondary, their weak linebackers and their weak secondary is exposed. And Russell Wilson, I think, will be able to torch that Raiders secondary all day. I do think, Laurel, that Jimmy G will be able to have some bright spots in this game, but that Denver defense is ferocious. And that Denver defense, even after Bradley Chubb got traded, they looked very, very good, and they got better with the addition of, I believe it was Zach Kerr, the guy that they got from Arizona, who followed Vance Joseph. Zach Allen, that's right. Thanks, Ben. Zach Allen he followed Vance Joseph to Denver from the desert, and he's going to have a big day against Jimmy G and also be able to shut down the run. So give me Denver. I think the Broncos will win their first game against the Raiders since 2020, and Denver opens up the Sean Payton era with a bang, and I think they win this game. I'm going to go Denver wins it 27-13.
What about you, Ben? Who do you like in this matchup? This is the Sean Payton era in Denver.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Broncos, 24-10. I think that the Raiders, I think, are gonna have a hard time moving the football in this game. I agree with Isaiah and you, Laura, that the Broncos defense is gonna be really good this year. This is obviously gonna be post Vic Fangio in terms of their coaching staff, but I really like this defense. I mean, Patrick Surtain is a really good cornerback, and typically defenses for Denver are usually really good at their fronts. Speaking of Zach Allen specifically, we played his high school in football, and even in high school, he was really, really good against ours. And obviously, he went to Boston College, so he was a New England native. So I knew a lot about him. And he's going to do really good things over in Denver. So, but yeah, I think that the Broncos are going to win by 2 scores in this game. I think that the Raiders probably get a late touchdown. I wouldn't be shocked if Adams got one. I'm gonna go 24-10.
All right, next up here, we talk about the Dolphins taking on the Chargers here. I mean, I think this is going to be an offensive display between both of these teams. But I'm going to pick the Chargers, but I think they win by a field goal because I think that Herbert and Tua are both going to play good, but I think the Chargers just come out with a win. Isaiah, who do you like in this matchup?
All right, for me, give me. Oh man, I've been. This is the game I've been struggling with for like weeks, ever since the NFL schedule was released, because this game is just going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And also, with Jalen Ramsey not being there, that's a big blow for the Dolphins secondary, and not being able to cover the playmakers that the Chargers have on offense. So I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be an offensive shootout, just like the Colorado TCU game. Give me the Chargers to win this game. I'm going to go Chargers 37-34. I think both quarterbacks have a great day. Both offenses shine in this game, and it's just going to come down to the last possession. Who gets that stop, that late stop, will win this football game. And I believe that the Chargers will be able to do it with Khalil Mack on one side and Bosa. I'm actually going to go on a limb and say this. I think Khalil Mack gets a game-winning sack to clinch it for the Chargers.
What about you, Ben? Who do you like in this matchup between the Chargers and the Dolphins?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday on my show. This is going to be one of the best games in the 425 slate. I'm going to go Chargers 33-30, pretty much right around the same prediction as Isaiah here. It's going to be high scoring. Without Jalen Ramsey, that secondary isn't as effective, even though they have Vic Fangio there to help out. Bradley Chubb obviously will help as well, like last year. But the Chargers have a really good offense. I think that obviously Herbert's going to be back, and I'm a really big Justin Herbert fan. And then obviously that they're skill guys. They have Keenan Allen. They have Mike Williams. So they have a lot of obviously playmaking already there. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And I think that it's going to be one of those games where one team unfortunately has to lose. So yeah, 33-30 Chargers.
Next up, folks, we're going to talk about Sunday Night Football. Well, the Dallas Cowboys will take on the New York Giants. As Casey says, the Dolphins will win 23-20. But I mean, the Cowboys, I think they're going to be a good team. But I'm going to pick the New York Giants to win this game. I think it's going to come down to the leg of Graham Gano. It's going to be a 24-21 victory. And I'm telling you, Stephen A. Smith is going to be laughing his head off when the Giants win on Sunday night over Dallas. And I think Daniel Jones, this will be the game that I think he gets his first career win against the Dallas Cowboys. Isaiah, who do you like in this matchup? I'm feeling Big Blue here.
Well, Loro, you forgot one thing. It's not just going to be Stephen A. Smith that's going to be laughing his head off if the Cowboys lose on first take. It's now going to be Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp who are both going to be laughing their heads off on first take if the Cowboys were to lose. But in all seriousness, though, oh, gosh, this is another tough game because division games are always very tough. It doesn't matter the record of both teams. They're just so tough, and they can go either way. And the thing is, I know we made this pick on Ben's show yesterday, and I completely forgot who I picked. So I might be
Cowboys.
I picked the Cowboys. Oh man, You know what? I gotta go with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are just the better offensive team. They have a better defense as well than the Giants. Daniel Jones, I just don't know why I have I just had this hunch he's going to turn the football a couple of times in this game, and it's going to be massive for the Giants, and the reason why they lose. So give me the Dallas Cowboys to win. Dak Prescott is on a hot seat. Dak Prescott needs to prove himself because you have Trey Lance, who is looking over his shoulder that, hey, anytime Dak throws a pick, it's like, dude, Dak, you may be gone after this year. So give me the Cowboys to win this game. Also, Mike McCarthy's coaching for his job this season. I think we're going to go over our coaches that are on the hot seat, but Mike McCarthy's coaching for his job this year, and that's why he's calling plays now. And I think that he's going to be out to prove that, hey, I'm still an elite play caller in the NFL. So give me Dallas to win.
What about you, Ben? Who do you like in this matchup between the Cowboys and the Giants?
So I'm going to go on your side, Lauro. Brian Daboll is going to get this win at home against the Cowboys. 27-17.
That is going to make Stephen Ainge. But anyways, now our first Monday night game of the year between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Oh, boy. Aaron Rodgers making his debut in MetLife Stadium. So I'm going to go first with this pick. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills. I think they win by field goal. Tyler Bass kicks it. I think it's going to be a 34-31 win for the Buffalo Bills. Aaron Rodgers is going to play good, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the Jets to come away with the victory here, Ben. Who do you like in this matchup? This is Aaron Rodgers' first game in Broadway.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good game. What a way to kick off. I mean, you talk about Thursday Night Football, you're going to have a dandy with the Lions-Chiefs. You got Sunday Night Football with the NFC East showdown. And then you have Bills-Jets, which might not have been a great matchup in the past. You'd be like, oh, Josh Allen over, whatever. But now it's the return. It's the debut of Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, this game is also on 9/11. So it's obviously going to be played in New York. So it's going to be a massive, obviously, night. They're going to do a lot. It's going to be crazy, at least around my area. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills here. I'm going to go with probably 27-24. I have them getting a last-minute touchdown over the Jets. And I think that the Josh Allen is going to get his revenge against the Jets after the Jets beat him last year at MetLife Stadium. But that Jets defense is absolutely legit. And I do have one thing about the Jets, Laura and Isaiah. I might have said something about this yesterday, but with the Jets specifically, their offense is going to be already good as it is. But I would not be shocked. I mean, the Jets are going to be a playoff team. I would not be shocked if they made a call to the Buccaneers at the trade deadline for Mike Evans. I really think specifically if they're going to go already all out, you can get somebody specifically to pair alongside Garrett Wilson and really make this not only a really good contending type team, but potentially a team where they really believe that they can win that division. So I think this is going to be one of many good matches against these two teams. And I'm going to go with the Bills, though, and a squeaker at the end.
Anyways, Isaiah, who do you like in this matchup between the Bills and the Jets?
You guys got me? Okay. It looks like you guys do. But for me, this is gonna be a very emotional night in New York, like Ben mentioned, with all the 9/11 festivities that's gonna be happening. And it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers' debut. So the stadium is gonna be rocking on Monday night. Jet fans have been waiting for this night for a long, long time. And I think that when you look at this matchup, you have two great quarterbacks going at it, Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen, two great defenses going at it with the Jets and the Bills, who are not better than the Jets, but they still have a good defense. And then you have great playmakers on both sides. Stephon Diggs. You have Stephon Diggs on one side. You have For the Jets, Garrett Wilson, and then you look at the running backs, Dalvin Cook. I think this is going to be a great matchup. I think that it's going to be very entertaining. I think both offenses are going to show up, and I think it's going to come down to like 3-4 defensive stops that are going to be the big difference in this game. And I think that Aaron Rodgers, it's his first game in New York with the emotion that's going to happen from all the 9/11 festivities, and the Jet fans finally getting their savior at quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers balls out. I think he has a lot to prove, and I think he shows the world that, hey, I'm still great. And he throws for over 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns in this game, no picks. But I think that it's going to be a Josh Allen late interception that's going to seal the deal for the Jets. So give me New York to win. Bold prediction I have for this game, and I think Ben and James on our show yesterday know what I'm talking about. I think Taylor Rapp will have 2 picks in this game. I think he's very hungry to prove that, hey, you guys disrespected me by not giving me a lot of interest in free agency. And I want to prove that I'm one of the best safeties in the NFL. I think he has 2 picks in this game. And I think this season, Rapp's going to prove that he's one of the best safeties in the NFL.
But anyways, here, now before we end the show, we'll talk about one head coach who's on the hot seat. Which seat is hotter? For me, I'm going to go with Brandon Staley, just because of last year's debacle or collapse to the Jaguars. Brandon Staley, I think, is coaching for his job along with Mike McCarthy, but both are facing a lot of pressure. What about you, Isaiah?
The one head coach, I'm going to give 2 actually. I got 2 coaches that are on the hot seat. Number 1 for me, I'm gonna go with 2 head coaches. Okay, number 2 or number 1, and I don't know, Ben and Laurel, I don't think you're gonna like me very much for saying this, but I'm gonna go with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is on the hot seat in New England. That schedule is very, very, very tough for the Patriots to start out with. I made a hot take yesterday on Kicking Him with Cruz. That is, I think Bill Belichick will be forced to retire mid-season if the Patriots start 1-7 or 0-8. I think that schedule is very tough. The Patriots, with Belichick being cheap, didn't get enough firepower to be able to compete with the Jets, the Bills, and all the top teams in the AFC. I mean, they could have had DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, but guess what? They ended up settling for Ezekiel Elliott. And to go from Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Hopkins to just getting Ezekiel Elliott, that is a very, very disappointing offseason if you're a New England Patriots fan. And I think Robert Kraft has had it with Bill Belichick and his antics. And, he put Belichick on the hot seat and put Belichick on high alert last season when he made the comments that he did that, hey, it's not good enough. And, time is, there's going to be a time that comes where, we're going to have to part ways because it's business. And those comments were very, very striking to me. So I think Bill Belichick, for me, is definitely on the hot seat. I could see him being forced to retire if New England starts 0-8 or 1-7, because you're going to have to make major changes at that point if you're 1-7 or 0-8 at that point. So I got Belichick at number 1. And then another coach that I do have on the hot seat, another coach, it's going to be another Patriots disciple. It's going to be Josh McDaniels. Mark Davis is a guy that's not really that patient. They moved to Vegas. They want to sell tickets. They want to, have a winning ball club there. And Josh McDaniels took a team that went to the playoffs 2 years ago, and last season the Raiders absolutely were awful. They only won 6 games. Heck, they should have only won 4, but they got lucky in a couple of games that they won. So Josh McDaniels is on the hot seat. You have your quarterback now, Josh Jacobs. He's on a 1-year contract. The defense, you got some playmakers there. Devontae Adams, if this season goes bad to begin the season, he's going to want out, and so there's a lot at stake for the Raiders. So Josh McDaniels, he's got to show up, and he's got to put up results early for the Flames to cool down on him to start the year.
And who do you have as your one coach on the hot seat?
I mean, I have a couple, but I have one surprising one that might shock you as well. Laurie, don't mind, just mute. Thanks. In terms of the guys, I have Mike McCarthy. I think that this guy specifically, this is Dak Prescott's make or break type year. But he's had a lot of scrutiny in years past, and I think specifically that he is definitely on the hot seat for sure. Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay, I think that he is all but gone if the Buccaneers have a really underwhelming season. John Gannon, I don't know specifically with the Cardinals specifically, they're going to have a great year. I don't know how long specifically the Cardinals are going to want to wait to have another type coach, but I could see him being gone. The one coach, guys, that you might think I'm a little crazy about, and Isaiah and Laura, I don't know how you'll feel about this, Mike Vrabel for the Tennessee Titans. I think that there could be something there. The Titans specifically don't know their direction at quarterback. And obviously they have Derrick Henry, of course, there, but he's going to walk at the end of the season. So if the Titans don't know specifically what their quarterback is going to be specific at the end of the season, I could definitely see Mike Vrabel potentially be on the hot seat as well too. So I have a couple guys specifically. I think that Mike McCarthy, Todd Bowles, Josh McDaniels, Brandon Staley, I think is going to be one that's really he's overdue for sure. And Josh McDaniels definitely be up there as well too. So another guy too I could see as well is Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach.
Maybe, but I don't think he's going to be on the hot seat. He won the division last year.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, the Kirk Cousins is in our make or break type season. I mean, this is his last year with them. Probably not him, but I think that's more of a launch up. But yeah, I have a couple ones that are kind of for sure type ones, and then I think Mike Vrabel's a surprising one to potentially watch out for.
Anyways, now with that being said, here, now, folks, we're going to talk about our Super Bowl predictions. I'll go first with mine. And my Super Bowl 58 prediction, I'm picking the Niners to take on the Bengals. And I say that because I want to see Joe Burrow back in the Super Bowl. But I'll tell you guys this, I'm picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl this year. Ooh. What about you, Isaiah?
Loro, before I give my Super Bowl predictions, I'm going to drop on you my AFC Championship and NFC Championship because I don't think I did that on the Week 0 show, NFL preview show that we did. So I'm going to drop it right now. NFC Championship. Loro and Ben, be prepared to have shock faces on your face. You guys are going to gasp so loudly that it's going to be heard around the world. So my NFC Championship pick, Loro and Ben, I'm going to go with the Niners, and I'm going to go with this surprise team, the New Orleans Saints. I think the New Orleans Saints make the NFC Championship. I see that look from you, Loro, already. I think that the New Orleans Saints make the NFC Championship. They got a good defense led by Cam Jordan. They've got, Garrett Carr there. Remember, they're a great team. They just needed a quarterback, and I think it's going to pay dividends this year. Alvin Kamara is going to be back. This game is going to be played in San Francisco, and I got the Niners and the Saints in the NFC Championship. In the AFC Championship, this is going to be also a shocking one for you guys. I think Ben knows where I'm going to go with this. The Jets and the Jags. This prediction was absolutely laughable 2 years ago, but I got the Jets versus the Jags. Trevor Lawrence versus Aaron Rodgers in the AFC Championship game. Trevor Lawrence is going to take a massive step up. He's got great weapons around him, great offensive line, great coaching. Defense is going to be better in the Jets. You guys know how I feel about the Jets. They got one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the position in Aaron Rodgers. They got a great defense already. Dalvin Cook's over there in New York. Gary Wilson's is there. And the Chiefs, I don't trust their defense. And they don't have really good receivers around Patrick Mahomes. So give me the Jets and the Jags. Loro and Ben, feel free to drop your AFC Championship and NFC Championship picks if you want. And then Super Bowl. So I got in the AFC Championship, I got Jets, Jags. NFC Championship, I got Niners, Saints. And this is going to be my Super Bowl prediction. This is my Super Bowl matchup, and I'm going to have these two quarterbacks tell you.
Bang, bang, not again.
Who would that be? Who's your Super Bowl pick?
Niners and Jags, baby. Give me the Brock Purdy and the Niners against Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, it's gonna be a great game. And for me, I'm gonna go with the Niners. I'm gonna go with the Niners. I think that they're a better team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. The defense is better than the Jags. And Brock Purdy will show out. He's gonna show up in this game. Have a great game. And Brock Purdy will win Super Bowl MVP and top off the Tom Brady old story. Oh, Laurel, you're muted.
Yeah, so for me, I have for the AFC and NFC title games, I got the Bengals and Chiefs. I'm going to have the same matchup as last year, but reversed places. I have the Chiefs going to Cincinnati. And then for the NFC title game, I have Eagles and Niners, and I have it going to be in San Fran. I got the Chiefs winning in Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a really close game. I have 35-28. And then the Niners are going to beat the Eagles. 27-17. And then I got the Niners, and I got the Chiefs, and I got the Niners beating the Chiefs. It's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but I think that the Niners get the revenge. And I have that the Niners defense is going to make some plays at the end to disrupt Patrick Mahomes, because I thought that they did a pretty good job of Mahomes a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl, but it was their offense that wasn't able to come through, and I think that they're going to come through in this Super Bowl, and Brock Purdy is going to get a ring on his fingers.
Anyways, here, for me, the NFC Championship game, I think I'm going to go with the Eagles against the Green Bay Packers, against the 49ers, or I'll save that for another day. So, anyways, folks, that's going to do it here. But Isaiah and Ben, what are your final thoughts here?
Well, my final thoughts for the show. What a great show. Great football season we got upcoming, man. Thanks to Casey King for tuning in. It's been a long time since we had you, Casey, comment on the program, so it's great to have you back. Thanks to Christy as well for tuning in and watching the program. Here we are, fellas. Here we go. Football season is back, man. We waited a long time for this. I cannot wait for this. It's going to be fun. Starting on Thursday night with the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. We're in for a great season. I mean, college football has already started with a bang. I mean, we had TCU lose to Colorado, and then tonight Duke somehow, some way beats Clemson and ends the Clemson dynasty. Fellas, get used to the name Riley Leonard, because that Duke quarterback was legit, and he might be an NFL quarterback upcoming, so get used to that name. But here we are, man. Football season is here. Starts Thursday. The Brock Purdy Revenge Tour starts on Sunday. I'm going to drop a couple of NFL hot takes that I have before I hand it to Ben and Laurel for their final thoughts. One of my NFL hot takes is that I think Trevor Lawrence wins the NFL MVP. I think he has a great season. I think he wins the NFL MVP. And then the second bold hot take that I really wanted to drop on you guys is Trey Lance will replace Dak Prescott at the end of the season. That Dak Prescott got put on high alert by Jerry Jones. They don't go out and make that trade without Jerry having some doubts about Dak Prescott and his ability to be the franchise quarterback moving forward. I think that after this season, this is going to be Dak's last season as the starting quarterback of Dallas, and I do believe that Trey Lance will be the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys at the start of next season, and it's going to be the Trey Lance era, not in San Francisco, Loro and Ben, but in Big D. So Trey Lance will be the starter in Dallas. And you know what? Why not? I'll drop one more bold prediction on you. Taylor Rapp will win Defensive Player of the Year, fellas. I think he's very hungry to prove after getting disrespected in the offseason that he's one of the best safeties in the NFL, and he's going to have a monster season for the Buffalo Bills. So those are my predictions. Can't wait for football season, and can't wait for the next Extra Point show, which I think will be next week, Sunday or Monday. It's up to you, Loro, but yeah, I can't wait, man. Here we go, man. Football is back.
Ben, what are your final thoughts here?
Yeah, so I have a couple as well. One, obviously, my show I'm trying to probably have later on in the week, so keep tuning on that. Isaiah also said lower that he's going to have a pregame and postgame show for the Niners as well, so keep tuning for that. I also am considering as well, too, that I might have a hockey show come on this winter. So I'll keep tuning on that. I'll let you guys know specifically about that. Kind of like my own face-off show, but I'll still be, of course, with that as well, too. So I'll let you guys know about that. But I've been thinking about that as well. But in terms of my hot take, specifically, I have a couple. My lukewarm hot take is that Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos are going to miss the playoffs again this year. I think that there's two teams in front of them in the AFC West that are better than them. Specifically, I got the Chiefs and the Chargers. And I think right now that Sean Payton's going to have a good year, but I just don't know specifically Russell Wilson can put it together again for this season. My warm take is specifically Bryce Young is going to lead this Panthers team into the playoffs. I think that it's a long time coming for this Panthers team, and I think specifically that they're going to get in the wild card under Frank Reich, and he's going to have a really good showing there. And then my fiery hot take, and I said it earlier, two of them actually now. I have two. I think that Joe Douglas is going to call for a trade for Mike Evans at the trade deadline for the New York Jets. I think that the Jets are really serious right now, and I think that if Mike Evans is available, I think that they're going to be one of the top teams to call for his services specifically. Another team as well, too, Loro, the New England Patriots. I really think that the Patriots need a number one receiver, and if Bill Belichick wants to keep his job around for a couple more years and try to get that record specifically, if the Patriots are in it and with their schedule specifically being a really tough challenge, they need to go out potentially at the deadline and possibly make a splash. And the Bucs are out by then. I could really see potentially that they could work something out. Mike Evans and the Patriots, I think that'd be really good. And also, it would be, for a lot of Patriots fans after they missed out on D-Hop, that Mike Evans could potentially be another potential prize there. And then Aaron Donald, I think, gets traded. I think that this is going to be the biggest flaming one. And the Eagles, I think, are a massive taker. Howie wrote, I forgot his last name for the Eagles, is really aggressive. And, man, you put Aaron Donald at that front for the Eagles. I mean, that's definitely a Super Bowl contender right there. So that's who I have. But thank you guys once again for having me on your show. Really look forward to having football back already. College football has already been great already as it is. So it's going to be a great NFL season. And, looking forward to obviously having the content as usual for this upcoming season.
Anyways, here now, Casey has the Bengals beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But anyways, I'll tell you, my final thought is that it's been a great show. But my hot take for the Patriots is that I think that Tyquan Thornton will emerge as a number one receiver. I also think that the Titans will probably start off 1-8 or something like that, but I think they'll finish the season 4-12, which I think they'll lead to Mike Vrabel being fired. But I think that the Caleb Williams race will come down to two teams between the Raiders and the Cardinals. Those are my hot takes to end the show. So next show will be sometime next week where we will predict. We'll recap week 1 and then we'll dive into week 2. And we'll have that show next Wednesday for you. I don't know what time yet. So next Wednesday we'll have that for you. And for Isaiah and for Ben, I'm Loro signing off for now. And we leave you with this.
29. Jones steps up, tries to avoid it, buys some time. Jones uncorks, deep ball, touchdown on the ricochet. Purdy back to throw, pressure coming, steps away, looking to run, and he walks it in for the touchdown. Throw on 4th and 18, he's given time. He wants Jefferson, climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Justin Jefferson. Jacobs with running room right up the middle. Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game. Lays it up, and it's intercepted. Trayvon Diggs. Guess who? On a 2, McCaffrey right up the middle, and it's stiff arm. McCaffrey for 6.